What's up, guys? It's your boy Jamaica here, coming at you with another episode of our Penny Dreadful Master Series, a look back at the past and present of top decks of every season. We're going to talk about another Season 2 deck, Ashamael's Blue-White Cloudpost deck. So, like I said, if you watched last episode, you would have known that Dragonis had a blue-black control deck that was on top. It was a dominant deck. It was one of the best decks in the format. And when you have a best deck, you're always going to have some competitors. Mono Red was one of them. It wasn't. It was good. It wasn't as good, probably. But this was a deck that was kind of invented by, I believe the first guy who played it was a guy named Chandlertron, a really good brewer slash player. But Ashamael really picked it up. Ashamael was a grinder. He was a really talented player. And he kind of picked up this list after he saw that list and kind of just like ran with it. Really tuned it up. And this is Blue-White Cloudpost. So another iconic card you kind of mentions Cloudpost alongside Glimmerpost over here. Just kind of the combo of just making a ton of colorless mana. So Cloudpost, adds a colorless for each locust on the battlefield, and Glimmerpost is a locust land. So the more you have together, the crazier your kind of like large X spells become. And so it was just a kind of a blue-white control deck. I don't call it control, maybe like ramp control deck, but it had such an overwhelming late game that just kind of like overwhelmed the blue black deck and kind of like, I wouldn't say push out the format, but really just like took over that kind of like control-esque slot. So this became the deck to beat like sort of the second half of the tournament of the season. And actually in the last very tournament where we had this sort of like tournament of champions type thing, Blue-White Cowboys was on top over the Blue-White control deck, so it was really prevalent that Ashamael, I think, won 3 tournaments this season. So he clearly showed the dominance over the archetype and even like the season. So I think like Blue-Black control was like the first half of season two's like best deck. This was definitely the second half of season 2, the king of season 2, second half. So let's see, go to the land base. We talked about the Cloudpost, talked about the Glimmerpost. Those combined were really good. Glimmerpost really let you stay alive, especially gaining 1 life for each locust in play was really big, especially in those aggressive matchups, which were kind of like designed to help beat this deck. Like Mono Red was one of the worst matchups, and you kind of tell in this main deck. This is one of the last little lists that I found for Ashamael, which I chose to represent his list. Is that his main deck is so geared towards beating aggro decks, because the control matchups are like, once you just make a bunch of mana, it's pretty much over at some point. But even like his mana base, like if you look at the mana base here, he had 8 gain lands here, along with the locust land of Glimmerpost. So he had a lot of ways to like instantly gain life. It was really interesting here. House is a really early removal spell here. He took one of the deck's problems. It took a lot of time to set up. Because you had to like get your post into play. Cloudpost can play tap, to get a little chalice action. So you really need time to like kind of stall. Anticipate and main deck negates or pretty much a response. The main deck was definitely a response to the blue-black control decks, but it was never dead really. A couple anticipates kind of just like set the wave. Wing shards, that's kind of easy way to like kill some creatures. Oversized monument, another way to ramp in a late game kind of like finisher. Parallax Wave was really big in this deck. Just had to stall. It was all about kind of just like stalling everything, and Parallax Wave was just that. Any blue deck had Fact Fiction at this point. Winds of Wrath, all the Wraths cost at 5 mana. Winds of Wrath was probably like the best one. I don't think we even have Planar Uppers just yet, so this is probably just the best one. And a ton of X spells for once you have Glimmerpost, Cloudpost going. So you have Mind Spring. Decree of Justice was really big. It's basically just an uncounterable way of finishing the game. Along with White Sun Seal was instant and actually just jumped right back in. So all these ways are just really annoying ways to kind of win. And most of the mirror matchups I used to watch all the time, it's basically like who got their mana out first and who got the Decree of Justice out. Because if you know about Cloudpost, it doesn't count just your Locust lands. It counts both Locust lands of you and your opponent. So you took this weird risk of like just playing your Locust lands, because you kind of had to. But whoever got their Cloudpost out first was basically widely advantaged. And then whoever got the Decree out first was just super advantaged. So that was a crazy thing about that. Treasure Cruise, of course, any blue deck can't run without it. Arbiter of Null Ridge was this funny little response to another sort of the aggressive matchups, where you just reset your life total, basically. You just like would take a ton of damage and just reset your life total with Arbiter. That's such a good find. Ashamael did a good job just kind of like finding these little cards that just kind of fit in a certain slots. In fact, he had a second one in the sideboard. And you look, like I said, you can see in the sideboard, like all the red hate here. Warmth was, oh, Warmth. Jeez, just gaining 2 life per casting Red Soul from your opponent. That's sick. Imperial Mask was our late Lightning Sanctity at the time. I'm not sure if it's legal anymore. It was legal at least in season 2 and 3, but that was a really good way of just kind of shutting down a lot of things, especially like Memoricide. Like I said in the last episode, Memoricide was very big. So this is a good way of just shutting that down. 4 negates for the control matchups. Another Arbiter, another Decree. Just little things like Wing Shards, Seals, and just a little Graveyard Hate. But yeah, this deck was very annoying to play against. It was such a good deck just because it had inevitability, and that was the thing. If you didn't kill them by like turn 5 or 6 or 7, this game was basically over. If they just kept making land drops and just kind of doing their thing, it was quite the frustrating deck to play against. But there was a big reason that it was the season champion. And it was just a good deck, and Ashamael was a really good player playing it. So shout out to you, Ashamael. You're definitely deserving of the slot here. So that wraps up for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to take a look at season 3 and some of the crazy changes that happened then. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next episode.